Hey, welcome back to another episode of the MindShare PodCast. This show is sponsored by Kit's Keep in Touch Systems, a two-time international award-winning marketing suite for sales professionals. And REM, Real Estate Magazine, Canada's premier monthly magazine for real estate professionals. You can learn more about all of our sponsors by visiting my site, mindshare101.com. While you're there, be sure to download your free copy of the Ultimate Marketing Bundle so you can build more mindshare to get more market share. Plus, learn more about our one-to-one coaching and keynote speaking. Today's episode is number 309. And as we've been doing on a regular basis lately this year, probably for a little bit longer than this year, but we sneak one of these solo episodes in every so often, probably about once a month, because, well, hey, it's a lot of fun to just be able to speak, you and me, be able to get, without a guest, and not to say we don't love our guests. In fact, we are super grateful. We get some amazing guests on this show. In fact, we get the best of the best on this show. Like we are very, very lucky about that. Anyhow, that's not what this one's about. This one is all about your step-by-step business planning and goal setting for 2025. Now, just before we get into that, because I got some stuff that I want to share with you, just a quick recap here over the past few episodes that we've had. In fact, very quickly around the past 5 episodes that we have worked on. On episode 304, we talked about preparing for Q4. Now, this was the last time you and I were together, just the two of us. And again, the topic of that one was preparing for Q4, strategies to finish 2024 strong and thrive in 2025. Now, I really did give you some breakdown on that. And really the idea there was to prepare for Q4, get your mindset in the right place, get you doing the right things, and make sure that you are prepared to step into the new year. Well, today is going to be that continuation of that extension of that conversation where we're going to talk about what do I need to do to be prepared for not Q4, but for 2025 as a whole. And as everybody's, well, anyways, we'll get into that. Episode 305, your daily battle. How to build a bigger, better, more profitable real estate business. We had special guest realtor and coach, buddy of mine, Kelly Scarr. He's out on the west coast of Canada. He's been doing this a long time, just like I have, and he's got always some great insights. Again, we had a real fantastic conversation, so check that one out. Episode 306, Mastering Real Estate. How she helps clients thrive in a competitive market with broker Soroya Dempsey. Now, Soroya has been in the industry for about 7 years, so we were able to really experience her journey getting into the real estate industry just prior to COVID, where we saw, well, the market itself was in a good spot. Obviously, she had some fantastic years throughout the COVID period. And like many other people now it's almost that thing of settling into into that almost 10-year run of going, okay, I'm running a business. How do I make sure I'm running that business? So we really dove in and picked her brain on a lot of that. Episode 307, we talked about how to outsmart your competition. I had my buddy Ryan Edwards, who is a mentalist, and we talked about negotiation tactics you've never tried. Now, Ryan, again, is a master at his craft. Reading body language, actively listening to people, finding those little tells that we all have in us when it comes to, well, being at a negotiation table and winning the deal. Ryan gave us a whole bunch of different tips about how we can go ahead and do that. So again, it was another spin on negotiation that oftentimes people may not dive into, but you really want to tune into that episode. Again, like I said, he is a master at what he does. Now, most recently, last week, episode 308 with a good buddy of mine, Michael Switzer. In this one, we talked about inside the mind of a top-producing real estate broker. And that's exactly what we did. We really got inside his head. Michael's been doing some fantastic business in this real estate industry for pretty much the same amount of time I've been in the game, close to 20 years now. And he dominates his market, has a real good circle of influence around him, understands what it's like to go out and get new people, and he's a broker, owner of an office. So again, we were really able to tap into his insights and understand from him what he's doing to have a ton of success out there. He's been having a ton of success, and this dude's going to continue to have it because that's how he rolls. Anyhow, check out those last few episodes if you haven't. If you're a first-time listener, I want to thank you for joining us today. And again, if you are an ongoing listener who's always here, I am so grateful for you. I know I tell you this all the time, but I just, I don't mean to get all mushy over here. I'm just saying, thank you. I appreciate it. Now, as well, if you're a first-time listener, every so often you're going to hear a pause. You might hear a little sip of coffee, because that's how it goes down on these solo episodes. We record them early. We drink our coffee. We think. Anyhow, let's get into it. Today is about business planning and goal setting, and yes, it is that time again already. Now, it seems like it comes around a lot faster, like every single year. All of a sudden, everybody's just talking about business planning and goal setting and what are you doing for New Year's and the holiday season. And it's like, look, I'll continue to say it. These smartphones are what have pulled us in a million directions. They're why we feel so overwhelmed, like why we never feel like we never have enough time. I'm driving in the car the other day. I'm on my way to hockey, and I look down, I look over at Joshua. He's sitting shotgun with me, and he's on his phone. I'm like, dude, how was school today? He's like, good. I'm like, what'd you learn? He's like, I don't know. I'm like, buddy, put your phone down. And he sort of looked at me. I'm like, talk to me. Like say something to me. Like tell me how you doing. I mean, ask me a question. It is unreal. It is unreal. And it's not just, it's not just my son. It's my daughter too. But it's not just them. You see with everybody. You see with grown-ass adults. It used to be that we would, work. That work would stop around, say, 5, 6 p.m. We'd go spend time with our families. Now people can connect with us anytime they want, whenever they want. And we always feel like we have to answer, like we have to do it right away. And I believe that this is one of the biggest challenges that we have, okay? I believe that we are all facing the same challenge every single day. And the thing is, as much as I can complain about it, as much as we can complain about the smartphones and how big of a distraction they are, they're not going away. So somehow we need to learn to work with it. And I know that everybody could sit back and say, well, I'm working with it. I have it every single day with me. I know what I'm doing with it. But no. It is in control. And what we need to do is we need to take control back. Okay? And it's not just about getting more work done, but it's about being productive with our time. And I know it's easy to say it, right? Work with it. Work with that phone. Figure out how to be productive with it. But what does that really mean? And see, that's the question that most people don't actually know the answer to. So instead, what people do is they sit back and they say, well, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to pick the top 3 things that I need to do today, and that's what I'm going to focus on. And that's my to-do list for the day. But come on. If you're only going to focus on doing those 3 things, when are you going to get the rest of it done? We all know that getting more done in a day is definitely an ongoing battle. And when there are more than 3 things to do, which there always are, we need a solution for how to get them done. Now, what they don't teach us in real estate school is how to run a business. More importantly, how to run your life. See, compliance will keep you safe. The contracts are a must-know. But running a business, running your life in the world of real estate, that ain't an easy feat. You need a plan. You need to know why you're doing it. You need to know how you're doing it. And you need the discipline to be able to actually do it. Otherwise, that smartphone, it's going to kick your own ass. It is going to get in the way and it is going to control you. Now, I know for a fact that most people, in fact, to get real specific, I'll say at least 95% of people always feel like they never have enough time. I feel it. I know you feel it. Thing is, I figured out how to get more done in a day than most people do in a week. All while being productive at doing what you want to do. And achieving the goals that you want to achieve. Now, if you're a coaching client of mine, this is going to be a good reinforcement to a lot of the stuff that we do together as we plan for a new year. In this case, 2025. And you're going to hear concepts and strategies that we implement together. You're also going to hear, you're also going to be processing processing the information differently. Just because it's coming through, instead of on a phone call, it's coming through this podcast, through your speakers. You're in the car. We can't actually talk back and forth together. Okay, so it's going to process differently, and it's going to open up your mind to new ways of thinking about the things that we do together, and how to take any of it to your next level, okay? Conversations, stories, the actual steps. Some of them I even want you to redo as if it was your first time. Something like a pen and paper list instead of all of our trackers that we use together. And I'm not saying go away from the trackers that we use together. What I'm saying is it's almost like starting from scratch. You hear something on today's show, you go, wait a second, I know we've been doing that, but that's interesting. I'm going to try it that way. Or it's like getting right back to basics where you roll up the sleeves, literally pen and paper, before the trackers like I mentioned a moment ago. You just start scribbling stuff. And that may help you expand the thoughts that you've been working on in the trackers and the things that we've been doing together. So, don't write this off as, oh, I know this stuff. There's going to be a lot of concepts, again, that you hear, that you are aware of. But there may be things here, again, that you will pick up on that will help you go to that next level. So stay locked in over here, okay? And I guess, in the same breath, it's a really good opportunity to let you know that if you're not a coaching client, but you're even remotely considering it, or maybe are interested to know more about it, you can visit my site, MindShare101.com, go to coaching right at the top, then go to one-to-one in the drop-down menu, and from there, you can book a free 30-minute call with me. And obviously, everything I'm sharing with you right now, it's for you to implement as well right now. So, you don't need to be a coaching client to take what you're about to learn today in today's episode and implement it. Just the beauty of the coaching clients, like everything we get to do is we get to really roll up our sleeves together. And that's what they get. My coaching clients really do get the added ammunition of being able to collaborate on all of the stuff that we're doing. Not just what we talk about today, but there's so much more towards running a business, right? End of the day, I focus on helping my clients win. My coaching clients know it. They're winning. And we want you to win as well. So, okay. Let's get into this step by step. Like I said, topic for today, okay? What we're getting into today is all about your step by step business planning and goal setting for 2025. There is no guest on the show today. This is you and I, and of course, my beautiful cup of coffee. So, step by step. You got a pen, you got a paper? You don't? Why wouldn't you bring a pen and paper? Why wouldn't you want to... Like I just heard your answer. No, if you're driving, stay focused on the road. But if you are sitting at a desk, if you do have the ability to take notes, I really do encourage it. All right, because we're going to break this down. I'm going to take you through. I'm going to take you through goal setting to begin with, and we're going to go through 5 steps together. Then what I'm going to do is I'm going to take you through business planning, and within the business planning, I've got about 7 steps I want you to write down. Okay, so there's going to be 5 steps to goal setting. It's going to be about 7 steps to business planning. And as you do all of this, you're going to come away with a roadmap, with a plan for what you should be, need to be doing in order to win 2025. And you will hear me reference most people very often in this episode. Why? Because most people don't do the shit they need to do. And if you're here, well, I'm going to encourage you to do the shit that you need to do. And the beautiful part is, this stuff that we're going over, this is the shit that you need to do. Okay, Dave, stay focused over here. Step 1. Let's get into this. Step 1. Review your 2024 goals. Okay, so go back over everything that you'd written down for 2024. And when you're doing goal setting properly, not only are you writing down what you want, but you're quantifying how much of it you want. So what we want to do now is we want to go back and we want to track and we really want to tally up all of our numbers. Okay, now I know this is early. I know that some people are like, man, it's literally, we've got about 8 weeks left in the year as we sit here at the top of November. And I'm going to remind you guys that the holidays come up at about midway through December, which means you got about 6 weeks left of the year. And quite frankly, if you think that you need to be ready for the new year on December 31st or January 1st, you are late. That's like showing up on time to a meeting, like right on time and being like, I'm here. No, you should have been there 5 minutes ahead of time. So we like to get this stuff done, especially in our world of MindShare 101, with our coaching clients, with all the groups we train. It's very important for us to get ahead of this so that come holiday season, when people are talking about family stuff and good times and fun, or maybe the conversation about business planning and goal setting comes up, or preparation for the new year, you could sit there feeling completely at ease with zero anxiousness, zero anxiety around the fact that you are ready to go. So again, it's early, but we get ahead. That's the mission right here. So you tally up your numbers. You go through and you add up for each line item. Let's just say it was, going to the gym, okay, to do a workout. How many times did you do it in the month of January? How many times did you do it in the month of February? And right through to call it October, because again, we're a little bit early here. We've got about 10 months of data so far. Tally up all that data. Okay? Are you on track now? If you were supposed to go to the gym 200 times this year, did you only go 100 times? Did you go, have you almost gone 200 times? You've got call it 6-8 weeks left in the year. Will the pace that you're on for the rest of the year add up to the 200? So you're going to do that for every line item. Phone calls that you made, emails that you sent, new contacts that you met, date nights, vacations, books that you read. There's all sorts of different things, investments, time with family. There's all sorts of things that we get involved in a year as we think about our goals and think about what we want to achieve. So we write them down, we quantify them, and now it's time to tally them. And we're looking back to 2024. Now, the next thing we want to do is once we've tallied those numbers and we know where we sit for each goal that we wrote down for 2024, do a wins, misses, and lessons analysis. Where did you win? What did you do to win? What kind of habits did you implement? Was it, hey, I got better at, more consistency on social media, and it was because I did this. Maybe you were doing a batch creation. Maybe you were recording ahead of time. You were preparing the week before, maybe the month before. What got you to win that particular line item? Was it going to the gym? I got up early. I really kicked my own ass. I used to, I said it to myself all the time, no matter what, I'm going to get out of bed, I'm going to go. Making phone calls. Did you prepare the call list the night before? Did you get better at making those calls, more comfortable with people? So again, where did you win? Much the same, where did you miss? So maybe you didn't hit the numbers. Well, let's break it down. Why didn't you hit the numbers? Write that down and be honest with yourself. I didn't get up out of bed. I tried, I set the alarm, but I never did it. I didn't make the phone calls. You know what? I never really prepared my call list the way I should have. Social media. Truth be told, I've been trying. I really want to, but I just can't get comfortable getting on camera, or I feel really, really nervous about putting myself out there to people. So write this stuff down. You see, if you can't recognize where your wins were, and you don't recognize where your misses were, how are you going to adjust any of it? When you got wins, you can build off that. When you got misses, you can recognize it, and you can build off that as well. And then much the same, the third part to that is, what were your biggest lessons? Okay, so we wrote down wins, we wrote down the misses, and now we want to write down the lessons. What did I learn? I hate getting up early in the morning. I am not good at going to the gym at first thing in the morning. Or I hate making my phone calls at 3 o'clock in the afternoon, but I really do a good job at 10 o'clock in the morning. I hate recording content during the week, but Saturday mornings are fantastic for me. What did you learn? Write it down. See, this is again the self-reflection. And this is where you need to reflect on this. You need to be honest with yourself about it. Enjoy your wins and question your losses. Okay, so again, step one was to review your 24, tally your numbers, and do a wins, misses, and lessons analysis. Step two. Now let's figure out what we want in 2025. What do you want for next year? Business, personal, write it down, okay? What do you actually want? Don't just sit there and think about it. My famous story about wanting $1 bajillion. I still want the $1 bajillion. I just never actually wrote it down. I've said it a million times on a podcast from a stage and everybody else, but I've never actually written it down. And well, hey, I do sit here before you once again for the millionth time telling you the story. I don't have $1 million. Pardon me. a bajillion dollars. But as we say bajillion, I do emphasize that because I really want you to make a list. I want you to think big. Okay, don't pigeonhole yourself and be like, oh man, I don't know if that's possible. I don't think I could hit that. Think big. What do you truly want? Like Elon Musk didn't land a rocket on a platform in the middle of the ocean because he thought, I'm going to build a model plane. Right? Like let's be real. If you want to go big, think big. Put those numbers down. Put that item down. Put that goal down. And then, of course, quantify it. How much do you really want in 2025? This is how many, date nights I want to go on. Or I want to go on more date nights with my wife or my spouse, my partner. Okay, great. How many? I want to go more on vacations. Perfect. How many? I want to donate more money to charity. Perfect. How much? I want to make more money. Great. How much? I want to make more phone calls so I can make more money. Great. How many phone calls? You get where I'm going here? Right? Write down what you actually want. Pen and paper. Nobody's looking. This is not for anybody else. This is for you. So just write it down. Don't worry about anybody's opinions or questions or anything else. Don't allow your mindset to sneak in and say, oh, you can't do that. Just write it down. Think big. So again, once you've written down the goal, quantify the goal. How much of it do you want in 2025? Step 3. Add in action steps. When we think about goals, okay, and I'm going to continue to always use the gym. And in fact, I'm going to use the gym and I'm going to use income. No, I'm not going to use the gym. I'm going to use losing weight. And I use income. So on a personal front, we want to lose weight. We want to cut the fat. We want to lose weight. We want to see a better number on the scale. We want to feel better when we look in the mirror. We want to feel better when we put our clothes on. So we say, okay, losing weight is the goal. Well, back to step 2. There's the goal, lose weight. Let's quantify that goal. How much weight? Easy math here. I want to lose 12 pounds this year. Okay, great. So that's a pound a month. So the question I have now is, what do you need to do to lose that weight? Think about it. What would action steps be in order to lose the weight? Go to the gym? Eat better. Perfect. There's 2 action steps. So we're actually now going to include those action steps as goals. So in the same list of goals, where it's lose weight, 12 pounds, the action steps are going to go in as a goal. Go to gym. How many times? Let's quantify that. Eat properly, or just write it as food, and whatever that trigger is to you of like, I'm tracking my food, I'm tracking my calorie intake, and maybe you're not counting calories, maybe you're not counting anything, but you're tracking whether or not you ate properly that day. You made an effort to do so, and whether you did or you didn't. Again, tracking food. Let's quantify that. Now I know some people that get like nitty gritty with like their macros and their all this stuff and carbs and proteins, and I think that's amazing. If you got the ability to do that, go for it, because that's going to help you tremendously when it comes to food. My point to you as we're doing this goal setting is the action steps, the gym and the eating food, are truly what are going to get you to the point of losing the weight. So you're thinking about the action step, and then you're quantifying the action step, and you're adding the action step in as a goal. Let me give you another example. Let's think about making money. So you've written down money or income. You've labeled out how much you want to make this year. 100, 200, 500, a million, more. You've written that down. You've quantified the amount of money. Well, now I'm going to ask you, what are the action steps towards making that money? Because if you just sat around doing absolutely nothing, but wrote it down as a goal, are you going to make the money? Obviously not. Okay. So knowing that we're not just going to make the money by sitting around, we actually have to take action. What are some action steps? Well, let's think about, again, our phone calls. Great. Add phone calls as a line item in your goals and quantify it. How many calls this year? Now I'm going to suggest to you right off the hop, you're making about 2 to 3 calls to your contact list each and every single year. Okay, and I'm talking 2 to 3 calls per contact on that list. What do I say? All that's stuff that we work through in our training programs and our coaching, and this stuff we can totally help you with if you're coaching with us. That said, we know that making phone calls is going to be an action step towards, driving that income. Perfect. Write it down, quantify it. What's another one? Sending emails, like email newsletters. Perfect. How many are you going to send? Sending a real newsletter, like a direct mail newsletter. Doing social media posts. Great. How many social media posts? Right? Sending out flyers to your neighborhood. Meeting new people. Great. How many new people? Right? Going on appointments. Wonderful. How many appointments? So what we're doing again is we're looking at the fact that I want to make this money. And knowing that I want to make this money, I need to have action steps towards making that money. So I'm going to write down those action steps as goals. I'm going to quantify those action steps. And now I'm going to start to have this roadmap for all of the goals that I have for 2025 between both my personal and my business. So step 3 again is I'm going to add in those action steps as goals, okay? And I'm going to quantify those. So now the list is starting to grow. Now we get to step 4 of our goal setting. And what we want to do here is we want to break it down month by month. We want to break it down week by week. We want to break it down by day. So let's go back to this losing weight thing, okay? We want to lose 12 pounds this year. Well, if I break it down by month, how many pounds is that a month? Exactly. Like I said, easy math. It's a pound a month. Well, if I take that and I say, okay, let's break it down by week. Do the math. Exactly. Like I said, easy math. A quarter pound a week. Well, now I'm going to say to you, okay, break that down by day. And you're like, dude, I'm already into decimal points for what I got to do this week. The decimal point gets like 0.00 something when it comes to my daily, sort of weight loss. Exactly. See, I didn't say to you, you got to lose a pound today. I didn't say you got to lose 2 pounds today. I told you got to lose 0.00 something pounds today. Come on, that can't be that hard. See, all of a sudden what we've done is we've created a mental trigger for our minds to say, oh, this is easy. Here, let's do this one. Phone calls, action step towards, again, making the money, right? Let's say that you had, let's do something here. Let's say you had 250 people in a database, okay? And I said to you that you should be calling them 3 times this year, everybody. That's how many phone calls? 250 times 3, 750 phone calls this year just to your contact list to basically say, what's up? And of course, we got a little bit more ammo than just a what's up, but it's basically to say what's up. Well, now I say to you, call each of those people 2 to 3 times. Well, now we take our 750, okay, and we divide that by 365, and it adds up to 2.054794. You don't need all the decimal, but 2.05 times, 2.05 people a day that you got to call. So again, think about it, right? We took the math and we said, pardon me, let me do it another way, okay? So we go, you got 750 phone calls to make. We're going to divide that by 12. That's 62 phone calls a month. We're going to divide that by 4, assuming there's 4 weeks in the month. That's 15.6 people a week. We're going to divide that by, say, 5. Okay, forget 7 even. I'm going to do 5 days a week. That's 3.125 people a day. 5 days a week. Do you think you could make 3 calls a day? 5 days a week? 3. Not 15, not 25, 3. If you just said no, get out of the business. Seriously, just get out. Everybody can make 3 calls a day. The point is, I didn't tell you to call your entire database today. I didn't say to spend 3, 4, 5 hours making phone calls today. I said, if you want to make the money that you want to make those calls. You only got 3 of them to do today. So again, what we did was we took the big idea of phone calls, knowing that that's going to drive income. We're going to keep ourselves accountable by making sure we see it and we break it down from annual to month to week to day. We're going to look at the day and say, I got 3 calls to make. Bang. Now I know how many calls I need to make today. There's my goal. Now, if you don't hit your goals, if you don't even work towards your goals, you can't expect to achieve the big goals of the income and the weight loss and everything else, and the vacations and the date nights. You can't. You're not doing the things you need to do to make the money. But now what's happened is, by taking everything, the big goal, the action steps towards them, quantifying them all, putting them in a list, the result? You have now outlined your 2025 goals. Done. It's that simple. Now there's one more step though, and this is step 5. Schedule accordingly. Why? Well, because if you don't schedule, you're not going to get it done. period. Then you won't achieve the goals. And then you sit there and go, but I made the list, but it didn't work. Well, because you didn't schedule. So how do we do this? What are the steps? Very simple. We just broke down your annual goals to daily increments, daily action steps. Look at the daily column within your tracker. And again, this is something that we offer up to all of our coaching clients. Look at the daily column within the tracker. And that daily column will, again, tell you the quantity of whatever it is that line item is. Just find a time in your schedule to get that done. So if you're like, I got to do 3 phone calls, great. What time of the day are you going to do those 3 phone calls? And how much time are you going to dedicate to those calls? I'd say, block 30 minutes in your schedule. And if you're thinking, I only need 15, perfect. Take 15. If you're thinking to yourself, well, what happens if I get into a phone call and somebody just wants to keep talking? Well, again, we got dialogues for the way we're going to deal with that so we can get in and get out and make it a genuine phone call, but at the same time, not spend hours on that call. All stuff that we work on, again, within our coaching program. That said, you have to schedule. So now that you see the goals, now you look at the daily increments, now you schedule those into your calendar, and that is what you're supposed to be doing today. Now you think to yourself, go back to the smartphone that I started with off the top, the whole idea of the distractions, and now you're in more control because it doesn't say, hey, aimlessly scroll your smartphone right now. No, in your schedule, when you look at it, at every specific time block, it actually tells you what you should be doing. Now you just got to do that. And if you do that, and you can go back to your goals, you can say, I made my 3 calls, check. I, ate properly and went to the gym today, check. You should be on track to losing weight and making more money. And again, I'm just using those as 2 big examples today. There's obviously multiple things we could talk about when it comes to your goals, which I've listed off many times already with vacations and date nights and everything else. But point is, the action steps are what net the result of the goal. Those action steps need to be scheduled in the calendar, and those need to be your non-negotiables in your day. And I promise you, you know it, when you work on this stuff, you will have more than 3 things to do every single day. We all do. This is how you get it done. Okay? Again, this strategy that I just explained to you, it's called mapping. And when you think of a map, okay, you think about getting somewhere that you've never been before, but somebody gave you the address. You've never been there, so what do? You punch it in the navigation, you follow the navigation, you get to your destination. Well, that's exactly what this is. I just road mapped the entire process towards setting your goals. We outlined the destination being your goal. We outlined the navigation being your calendar. Now it's up to you to just plug it in and actually follow the directions. And if you do that, you will get to your destination. This is your master plan to getting it all done. Or as I say, to get more done in a day than most people do in a week. Okay, next up, let's talk some business planning. Told you I got 7 steps for you here. So I'm going to rip through these for you. Try not to make this a 3-hour episode. No, I'm joking. We're not going to be that long. But seriously, take notes, okay? We just went through goal setting. You're now prepped and ready for 25. Now it's up for the business planning. So step 1. And this sucks. This part really sucks. But this is like really truly you digging in, diving into you and your business. Make a list of everything that you need to pay for on a monthly basis and the associated cost for each of those. I need to pay my mortgage. I need to pay my house insurance. If you have a payment for your car, I need to pay for my car. I need to pay for my car insurance. I need to pay for gasoline. Your smartphone, cell phone, Rogers, Bell, Starlink, whatever you're using. Internet cable. What does it cost? Food in the fridge. What does it cost? Okay? Whatever else you've got, write it down. What are those needs? Once you figure out what your needs are, what you have to pay, those bills that come in every 30 days that you need to pay, that's how much you need to make at bare minimum after taxes to survive. Okay? So total all of it up. Write down the list of needs, everything, and then just total everything up. Now you know again what the needs are. Now, put that aside. Step 2, write down what you want. Okay, what do you want? Well, I want to go on vacation. I want a new bag. I want a new toy. I want to go out for dinner when even when I got dinner in the fridge. Well, then we realize it's not a need, it's a want. Total it up. Okay, we got to write down all those wants. And it's okay to have wants. Listen, when you work hard, when you go out there and you do the things you're supposed to be doing, and you're making money and you know that you're working hard, you know you need some time, it's good. Have downtime. Downtime's important. Having desires to have, there's nothing wrong with it. But you just can't have if you don't do the work to have, right? So we've got to pay attention to all this. So again, as we're talking about this business planning, we've got our needs, which we totaled up. Then we've got our wants, which we totaled up. Now we've got both of those numbers sitting there. Now step 3, total your needs and your wants. And that's how much money needs to come in after taxes for you to actually do the things that you need and want to do in life. Okay, so again, step 3, just total the stuff together. Now you see this big number. Oh my God, it's gonna run me $250 just to survive this year. All right, well, you need to go out and make more than that based on the fact that the government's taking like 60% of it anyways, right? So you got to make about $3 million if you want to have it. No joking. But geez, it's getting close to that. David, stay focused. Don't start ranting about the government. Come on, just a little bit. Just a little bit. I mean, this guy has changed the entire course of what this country looks like. Stop, Dave, stop. Okay, back to the regularly scheduled program over here. All right. Step 3 was to total everything. Step 4, calculate how much you made this past year. Now, again, if you're coaching with us, you've got your tracker, right? We've got our income tracker. We've got a deal tracker. We've got a bunch of trackers. We use a lot of we leverage data when we're coaching, but you know what? It works. It tells us what's working. It tells us what's not working. It helps us fix very quickly. And as we adjust and we tweak and we do and we tinker with these little things, we get better. We make more money and everybody's happier and taking more vacations. And what a wicked recipe for success. So, step 4, again, calculate how much you made this past year. Calculate how much you spent this past year. Are you up or are you down? Step 5. Based on the financial goal, okay, that you set in your goal planning, now we want to recalculate how much we spent versus how much we project to make. Does that make sense? So again, I had this number of, this income number that I made last year. And based on that, I looked at my income and my expenses and I asked myself if I'm up or I'm down. Now what I want to do is I want to look at the projection that I have for this year, and again look at the expenses I had from last year, and ask myself, if I'm looking at 25, and all things being equal, I had the exact same expenses, based on the money that I want to make, am I up or am I down? If you're up, depending on sort of how big of a spread this is, depends on any adjustments that may or may not need to be made. Now, if it's minor, or you're still in the red, then we need to review the wants that we listed and we need to see what needs to be rethought. So if you're like, I want to go on 5 vacations this year and we're kind of looking at your numbers being like, dude, you cannot afford 5 vacations this year, then we probably need to make some adjustments in some areas of what those goals really look like. And that's crucial because if we're not making these adjustments, then next thing you know, you end up being in the red, and now you start wondering, like, why are you, working so hard and not making enough money and everything feels so tight? Well, again, you didn't run your numbers. You didn't do your business planning. So step 5, based on the goal that you got, again, recalculate your numbers. Let's figure out where you're at. If it's a big spread, we're good. If it's a minor spread or you're in the red, we need to make adjustments. Okay, and we need to adjust what those goals are because obviously it's too lofty. It's too lofty in terms of what you're going to spend. Step 6, determine how much you can afford to spend on your marketing. And we have to do this because we need to be building the MindShare. Well, because MindShare equals market share. So remember, we talked about the income, right? And we wrote down, okay, there's an income goal. How much is that goal? Quantify that. How much money do we want to make? And out of that, we need to have these action steps within those goals. They need to be part of it, right? We talked about this. The action steps that we need to be doing on a daily basis to generate the amount of income that we want to generate. So we're looking now to say, well, how much can I spend on my marketing? Now, there's something out there that people have asked me before. They're like, oh man, I've heard that I got to reinvest at least 20% of my income into my marketing. No, you don't. Well, yeah, but no. There is no specific number. First off, we start with what can you afford. Okay, once we figure out what you can afford, and this is like included in your needs, not just your wants need to be put aside, because sometimes you can make everything completely unaffordable if your wants are just way too high. And marketing really is a need. If you want to generate more income in your business for yourself and especially in the real estate industry, you need to spend money on marketing. But it's got to be spent in the right places, because money is not the solution to complacency. And to just throw shit at the wall and hope something sticks, that's not a plan. So we need to figure out how much money is available to spend on marketing. And again, we've got a very sophisticated way we go about that within our coaching. We break it down. We understand what that number looks like. From that number, we then derive an actual marketing plan, figure out what we can afford to do and how much extra effort we need to put in if affordability really isn't as high as we'd like it to be. But again, these are all things that we do in the marketing plan, part of business planning. Okay, but what I'm doing right now is I'm getting you started on the step here of how to start with, again, not just the business planning, but getting into the marketing plan. We need to have dollars set aside. Now, step 7, and I got to admit, I lied to you guys. I told you off the top of today's episode that I had 7 steps for business planning. I've actually got 8. Sorry. I know. It's all good, though. This is going to work. See, because again, these marketing plans that we help build, they build mind share, and mind share equals market share. So here, step 7, though. Use the Model T method in our AMH strategy. Now, anybody who isn't familiar with this, you can get a free copy of the UMB, the Ultimate Marketing Bundle, at MindShare101.com. Okay, so write that down. Ultimate Marketing Bundle, free copy, MindShare101.com. What the UMB does is it breaks down your 2 audiences and your 7 ways to communicate. And it introduces you to the initial step of creating a really effective marketing machine to build that mind share. So again, make sure you get that. Ultimate Marketing Bundle, MindShare101.com. This is going to help you. I know I just said it. I'm like repeating myself here. Create a marketing machine, but doesn't that sound good? Doesn't that sound powerful? Like, wouldn't you want a marketing machine working for you? Something that's just generating a ton of business. It's generating repeat and referral opportunities. It's generating new opportunities. It's like, you want to make more money? You need a machine. And what better machine to get than a machine that is attached to Mindshare 101? Because that's what we do. All right. Here's step 8. We call it like your bonus step, because I told you off the top there's only 7 steps. Step 8, once you create your marketing plan, add in the action steps into your goals and repeat the mapping process that I explained earlier. So as we started to talk about income, okay, and the income goal, and then I said, create the action steps, the calls, the social, the meeting people. All of these things like calls and social and meeting people, they're actually all going to be derived from once we create our marketing plan to see what channels we're leveraging. For example, if you're going to send flyers to a neighborhood, I'm going to encourage you to door knock, and naturally we're going to have to figure out, well, how many houses are there? How many times should I knock those houses in a year? Let's add it all up, and then let's do our divisions of our monthly and our weekly and our daily. Then let's figure out how many houses we should be knocking a day, or even a week. Then let's figure out how to carve that time into our schedule. Now, that's one example of. If it's like I want to do more video on social media, once again, let's figure out how many videos. Let's figure out what kind of time we need to produce those videos. Let's start to create a roadmap to say how many hours is it going to take to produce the videos and the social media content in a, month/week. All right. These are all pushing us towards our goals. The same thing I'll tell you right now. When we started this podcast many, many years ago, in fact, almost 7 years ago, it's taken us about 15 hours a week to put together the show. We're now down to 5 hours a week because it's episode 309. I'd like to say we've gotten better at what we do. We've become more efficient. So the point is, though, everything, in order to achieve it, in order to execute on it, we need to understand how much time it's going to take to do. So again, what we're doing now is we come back to step 7. We started to lay out this marketing plan. It starts to tell us the action steps and quantify those. We now need to take those again and add those into the goals and then repeat the mapping process of putting into the schedule. Now, look, I threw a lot at you there, right? And I know that all of this can seem really, really overwhelming. The effort to actually plan it. And then to actually execute on it. Like, it's not easy. Hey, this is where coaching comes in. Goals can suck when you don't achieve them. They can also make you feel really, really good when you do. They can change who you are as a person, even as a business person. And of course, most people love to talk about what they want. Most people want. And look, it is all good. But one thing we know is that most people, they don't do. And earlier in the show, I had said to you that 95% of people struggle with this. And this is why most people don't hit their goals. So now you got to ask yourself, do you really want to be most people? See, it may feel like you've got all sorts of time to get all this stuff done, all this business planning and goal setting. But let me give you some perspective here. As we recorded this episode at the top of November, you had officially less than 8 weeks to the new year. Add in the holidays, and I know I said this off the top, but add in the holidays and all the fun that you want to have. We have about 5 to 6 weeks left of the year. Like, let that sink in for you right now. 5 to 6 weeks left in 2024. Now, most people are going to start talking about business planning and goal setting shortly. But most won't actually do what they say they will. And if they do, most of them are going to fall off by the second week of January. I mean, it's a fact. You could Google that shit. So why'd you tune in today? Why did you listen to this entire episode? Are you actually going to do something with what you learned here just now? Follow the plan, and 2025 will be your best year ever. And if you want help, think about investing in yourself. Think about how huge the returns would be for you if you actually pulled off those goals of yours. Go to my website, check out the one-to-one coaching, and book the free call. You have nothing to lose. And remember this, most people won't. So I'm challenging you right now to not be most people. You're either listening to this on one of your favorite podcast platforms, or maybe you went to my website, MindShare101.com. While you're there, be sure to download your free copy of the Ultimate Marketing Bundle. Learn more about our one-to-one coaching, group training, and keynote speaking. Make sure you're always out there building mindshare so that you can get more market share. For all inquiries, just get in touch with us today. Don't forget, please leave a review of this podcast at www.ratethispodcast.com/mindshare101. Connect with me on Facebook and TikTok at mindshare101 and on Instagram at David Greenspan 101. I want to thank Kits Keep In Touch Systems and REM Magazine for sponsoring the show. This has been another episode of the MindShare Podcast. Thank you for tuning in.